So it's been a few days and I'm now getting ready to just do some additional work onto this Tau Pathfinder. Last time I think I called him a Fire Warrior, and that's just wrong. It's not a Fire Warrior, it's a Pathfinder. So I'm now just going to go over some of these darker areas with a watered down base paint, which is Death World Forest. Sounds very intimidating. Just because I'm finding he's a bit blotchy, so it's very watered down, like I don't know, 3:1 or something like that ratio. But I'm just trying to stay away from the edges and the shading and just bring a bit more balance to the flat areas. But I don't want to cover up too much detail, which is why I've thinned it down. But this is just gonna help this guy look a little bit less sporadic, a little bit more like he knew what he was doing this morning when he got dressed. So this is quite fiddly little changes, and I've gone for a different color green again, just to actually make him a bit interesting. So he might claim he's, really good at stealthing or something like that, and he's camoed up his gun with lots of different colors to make it blend into the death world that he thought he was going to, or whatever. So, but yeah, this is just helping to give some of these broader areas, which really shouldn't have splotchy effects, a bit more consistency. I'm also going to go over with a dry brush to make the highlights pop even more, because it'll give it a nice two-toned effect with a different color. So all these little bits are just, every extra layer you do adds more depth to the model. If you do too much, you end up losing the detail, which is lower. I'm also going to dry brush his pants with 2 tones of brown to give them a bit more shaded effect and not just look like sunburnt leather, which is fine if that's the effect that you're going for, but I get the feeling that Tau a little bit more clean cut than that. So I'm not going over every panel, just the ones that look a bit blotchy. I'm not trying to remove every shadow either. It's just trying to add to every possible effect that's there. Okay, I'm starting to like his gun and armor a lot more. Doesn't look quite so random. Okay, and I think that'll do for the greeny bits. And now I'm going to work on the brown. So this is an older paint, Kathleen Brown. Not sure if it's still available. I got this quite a number of years ago now. So this one again, I'm doing it a bit runny, but I'm doing it as I'm going to use dry brush techniques. Just to sort of add stripes and things to some of the areas. I am going to go over this with a second colour of brown, a much paler brown. Just trying to highlight. Oh no. Oh, I didn't press record. Okay, so let me try that again. I am going over the pants with Kathleen Brown, and I'm using slightly watered down, so this is like a 1:1 ratio, but then I'm using dry brush techniques over the flatter areas, just trying to make this have some more of a two-tone effect, just as though they were actually camo pants, brown camo pants. And apparently I didn't press record on the camera, but I did press record on the audio, so you'll be able to hear all that, I'm sure. So just doing a little bit on this arm as well, but again just using dry brush techniques to sort of soften the darkness which is there. Because while the contrast paints are amazingly good, they have problems of being quite contrasting, which I know is a cheesy thing to say, but it's true. Okay, so now I'm going to do some dry brushing of the green to try and bring out the corners a bit more. I'm using an old bottle of Gretchen green to make this pop a bit. I'm not 100% sure this is going to have that much impact, but it should have some, because quite honestly the impact of the contrast paint is actually pretty good for the highlighting on this guy. This isn't going to need much at all. This might just level out some of the highlighting a bit though. Give them a bit more, make the highlighting a bit cleaner. Well, that's an annoying thing, because that's got so many different perpendicular lines on it. Doesn't really want to work with the standard dry brushing technique. Let's do some of the shoulder pad. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, do a bit up here. mostly I'm actually really happy with the dry brushing of the contrast paint. This just sort of softens that a little bit, makes it not quite so severe. Okay,